Power on. YouTube channel. YouTube channel. I want to be rich. You shouldn't put my money. And you could say no on this video. It feels good to take some fun.
Jade Smith and Sheddle67. Hey, how's it going? Parrish, thank you. Jeremy, hello. Hunter brother. No, I am not drawing Elf on a Shelf. Unfortunately. Mark Christensen, my influences as an artist are my favorite comic artists that I admired from when I was younger and to this day. Guys like Mark Silvestri and Adam Hughes and Travis Charest and Jim Lee and J. Scott Campbell and Joe Madeira and David Finch and Frank Miller and Dave Gibbons, and I could go on and on and on. Yeah, those are the majority of my favorites. Yeah, I bet, Damien. Yeah, shed something not brain rot. The internet is certainly full of that, isn't it? Just drawing an image of some of my own characters. Cro-Magnon. Well, it's pencil, not pen, but thank you, thank you. El Gavapo. Just a big gun, not a sword. It's not quite defined yet, obviously, but we're at the beginning stages. Well, thanks, Shane. Well, I'm going to try and have this gun have a little more detail than your average old school cable. If you're talking about the Liefeld character, I'm going to try to have more detail than that. Panda, what's up, dude? Shane, I'm literally only 9 minutes into the drawing, so we're just at the pencil stage, and I don't color. Never been good at it. Don't like to do it. So I leave that to the people who are better at it. But I just do black and white. Yeah, pain is coloring such a pain in the neck. Yeah, I'm not a fan. do I think about the different ways to hold a pencil? I just think a person just does whatever works for them and just leave it at that. There's no such thing as a right way to hold a pencil, really. It's whatever a person is comfortable with. You met Liefeld back in '91. I bet it's fun to meet him if you're nice to him and kiss his butt. He's I'm sure he's a nice guy to talk with, and he's excitable, and that's all fine. That's all nothing I ever had a problem with. It's just his crappy art that he's putting out there these days, telling us that he's a genius, demanding that you agree. Yeah, Larson holds pencils really weird. He does it like some kind of like upside down route. He even inks that way. It's not just his pencil, it's his inking tools and everything. He does it all that way. Yeah, yeah. Some people do it weird, but again, whatever kind of just becomes comfortable. And if you doesn't really matter the method you use to get the result you want. So, guess it's all good. Yeah, Silvestri, he's always extremely loose with his rough sketches, but man, he can do anything he wants with as good as he is. That is a modern day absolute master. Neil Adams did a whole video talking about how to hold a pencil. That's interesting. I know that Neil Adams is kind of an opinionated, well, was an opinionated guy. Um, Not that he didn't earn it, but yeah, Patty, you wasted a lot of time after college trying to adhere to industry standards.
We print literally almost everything. Really, really low prices. It's a vibe.
Yeah, you just gotta do what works for you, right? That's why do it any other way. Oh yeah, Cro-Magnon. I've still got my copy of it. I went through that thing a million different times. The How to Draw Comic Books the Marvel Way. Yeah, I even went through it on my YouTube channel. I feel like it's a pretty useful tool. There's a lot of good information in it. Lone Wolf Heathen, how's it going? You wonder if anyone aside from Frazetta could switch hands and still manage to draw. I didn't know that Frazetta could do that. He could switch right-handed to left-handed. Dude, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised considering the skill level of that guy, but good lord. I couldn't even imagine trying to draw with my left hand. I mean, although I do have to say, I feel like with enough practice, I can understand how I could make it work. But yeah, trying to draw left-handed would just drive me nuts. Oh, he had strokes and he had to switch hands. Interesting. Lone Wolf going well, knocked out some art today. No scoliosis when drawing women, so already better than Liefeld. Yeah, Frazetta was such a pimp. That guy makes you want to hit the gym hard. Yeah. You know what's crazy is I saw a picture of the gal he was married to, which, as I understand it, he used her as art reference a lot. And there was some photos of her like art modeling for him, like doing nude art modeling for him for art that he did. What a smoking hot lady! How awesome would it be to have a significant other um, that's that hot and is willing to pose for you? You're like, I get to make art. Married to a hot lady. She likes to art model for me. Everything's just going great. Lone Wolf, you're left-handed? Yeah. I couldn't do left-handed unless, I mean, I would if something happened and screwed my world up and I had no choice. Then you'd figure it out. But what a pain in the butt. Oh yeah, Cro-Magnon. Yeah, Frazetta, or I mean, she's okay. Vallejo, you said so second, but yeah, Julie Bell. They were both bodybuilders. She when she was younger in her prime, she was smoking hot. I mean, I've seen her still today, like as an older lady, and she's still pretty attractive. Bodybuilding will do that for you. Healthy living. What a hell of a career those guys have had. Yeah, Vallejo, he's still going, right? Yeah, he's got to be an old man, like an old man at this point. But as long as he's still, I mean, how great is that to be that old, but still have the mental and physical capabilities, and you haven't lost your mind or suffered dementia or anything like that, or had a stroke that fucks up your body, so he can still be creating up to this point in his life. That's awesome. Oh, was Bisley into bodybuilding? I didn't know that part. I don't know if I've ever actually seen a picture of the guy. Like, yeah, that's interesting. I think Dan Panosian, I think he's a big bodybuilder. I have to check out Bisley's book on the Bible. That's a lot of alliteration. Bisley's book on the Bible. You mean like, did he do like an illustrated version of it or something? Is that what it is? Because, yeah, I don't know what you're referring to. It sounds interesting. Huh. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, I've never even heard of that. But again, I don't know much about Bisley beyond his work in the comics field. I've seen so little of it. He crushed it. Worth a look. Yeah. So is it just like him illustrating it, or is he given like his opinions on it in terms of what it means, or like what's the premise of this book that you were talking about for Bisley? What was his goal with it? I'm curious. I mean, for somebody to do a illustrated work on the Bible, I mean, that's either somebody with faith trying to show it and celebrate it, or to discredit it and argue against it. I'm kind of actually curious of which way that's what that was. Yeah, I know about. I've seen some like of the Lobo covers for Bisley, but yeah, I've seen his work, but not much beyond that. Bisley's Bible. Everyone's jacked. Yeah, the gun's not bending. I know, you're right. I'm just doing everything wrong. I don't know how to correct it. No, you're good. I believe it. I mean, I've always appreciated his art. The little I've seen in terms of covers and things like that. But I think I may have only ever seen personally one actual like comic that he's ever actually done. Because I'm not into DC and Lobo or anything like that. I know. Oh wait, no, I did review. I had somebody send me some Lobo comics. I'm pretty sure he illustrated it. Those Lobo books, they're on the channel. The covers were amazing. Those painted covers that on those books that I remembering. But I like the art, but the story was just too weird for me. Lobo's not a character that's ever appealed to me in the slightest. I never, I never really got it. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Is Bisley still around? Is he still kicking, or it's another guy whose name was everywhere for a long time? Now that I think about it, I don't remember the last time I heard anything about him. So then I'm like, is he still alive? He is around. Okay, that's good. Because I'm getting up in my years. I'm about 2 weeks out from turning 49. The fact to be staring at 50 is just, it's hard for me to swallow. I mean, when my dad was 50, all his kids were grown. I've got a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old just in the other room. They keep me young. They keep me feeling a lot young. Mark, you turned 50 this year. Is it just fucking with your mind? Mark, Amazon has Bisley illustrations from the Bible for 300 to 500. Yeah, I'll never get that book. Unfortunately, I am not spending that much. But at least I know something to like go Google and look up. You know what I mean? And see some of it. It's not going to be the same as actually seeing the actual physical thing itself. But if it's that expensive, there's no way. I spent $80 on a comic book this last year and I about shit myself thinking about it. And I only did that because it's on the YouTube channel to talk about. Yeah, Mark, time flies. It does, my dude. I keep thinking how long ago it was when I was in freaking high school. Like, what? What is going on? It's pissing me off. Crow Magnus says he goes from Old Testament to Death of Christ and then jumps to the Apocalypse. Oh, shit. Full circle, black and white edition. Ah, you know me. I love black and white editions. Speaking of, right, Panda, it's bad enough I can't afford original art, but I can't even afford art books. Yeah. Yeah, that's not right. Seriously. Do you want to hear something about bad luck? I had somebody on Facebook that was selling a copy of Liefeld's Last Blood. And just for the channel, I'm like, okay. I really want it. And because Liefeld content is such precious, precious cargo, I'm like, all right. So I bought it for like $60, right? Okay. But my understanding was that it was just kind of like the regular edition, like the regular colored edition. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Great. And then like 2 days later, I had a local guy, really nice dude who actually lives here in the same state as me, hit me up and he says, "Hey, I've got an extra copy of this book if you want one." And I was like, "Well, I actually just bought one off a guy." He's like, "Well, this is the manga edition." I'm like, "Oh my God, that's the one that I want." He's like, "You can have it. I'll give it to you." And I'm like, "I mean, give? Like, I mean, I'll pay, but like, what do you want? What do you want for it?" He's like, "No, no." He's like, "I appreciate a fellow fan. It's an extra copy. I'll just send it to you." So he sends me for free this copy of Last Blood, but it's the manga edition. But then on the same day, I get the other book that I ordered from the guy originally that I paid for. And I thought that it was the regular full color edition, but no, it was the manga edition too. So I now have two copies of this fucking Last Blood #1, and they're both the manga edition. If I would have just waited 2 days, this guy was generous and sent me one for free. But no, I had just paid 2 days in advance for one copy anyway. And the reason I was like happy to take his free copies because I wanted the manga edition. And if I would have known that I was already getting one, I would have told him to like find someone else that would want it. So, yeah. Oh, God. But to be fair, the stuff in this thing, this guy right here, the name, this Stefan Rex Seidler, who does the manga tones in this, he makes this stuff look really interesting. Like, it's actually really solid. It's really cool looking. Um, like it's typical current day Liefeld garbage. It's just a guy in a snowy environment killing faceless bad guys, and then characters show up, and then more characters show up, and they stand around, and then more characters show up. But now I've got fucking two of them, and if I would have just waited, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not bitter at all. Maybe I'll find somebody that wants a copy of one of them, and I'll sell them one of them at a reduced cost or something like that and make a little bit of the money back, get it into the hands of somebody that wants it. I don't know. Either way, I went from having 0 copies of Last Blood to now I have 2, and they're both the exact same one. Why is there a black cover and then a white cover, and it's the exact same interiors? This is how Liefeld pumps his numbers. He just creates these fucking bullshit variant editions. I flipped through them page by page on each one. It's the exact book. It's just one is white and one is black. And people want to own multiple copies of them. Fireplace material. No, I won't burn them, because I could at bare minimum sell them to somebody who really wants them and make a few bucks on them back. And again, I'm not trying to I'm not going to sell the one the guy gave me for free, but I did pay 60 fucking bucks for the other one. And I don't think I'd even ask that much. I'm just kind of it'd be nice to, if people love it and they don't have it, and I've got extra copy, I'm kind of fine with it. I'll part with it, and even if it's still at a loss, but if I can just mitigate that cost a little bit, it'd make me feel not quite so stupid. And then when I make a video on it, the ad revenue tends to pay me back a chunk of it, so maybe I could at least come out even. Damien, your greed for manga has been noted. Yeah, I cannot deny that. Panda, I'm taking one for the team with the Liefeld reviews. Paying full price or crowdfunding prices for a comic, opening it up and seeing 0 backgrounds would irritate me to the end. Oh man, what's crazy? I mean, fuck it. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but why not? Again, a character's in a snowy forest, but he did a little bit more with the backgrounds in these than he usually does in places. But I think that these gray tones, this is kind of how I want my comics to look. I like this gray scale stuff. I've seen people do reviews of the regular version, and it just looks like standard stuff. But the grayscale and the zipatone kind of stuff going on, for some reason, it makes it look better. It doesn't make me want to puke like I usually do. Something about this just works better. And of course, the guy, he's using arrows like Wolverine's claws. Yeah, see, Cro-Magnon, it's kind of cool. But I got to be honest, it's that guy. It's this Stefan, I don't know if it's Steven or Stefan, Rex Seidler, Manga Tones. It's his stuff that's making this stuff really shine. Yeah, it's kind of solid. This one doesn't make me want to slit my wrists like all that other stuff. And I love the use of just red. That's cool. Oh, he draws them. They're there. The feet. And then, of course, he finds Battlestone. The expressions, the emotions on their faces, just blank, stoic. And again, Battlestone, face shot, no expression, face shot, no expression, big face shot, no expression. Like, fucking try to do something. Do intense shadows. He's hidden in a silhouette. We only see the skull in his eyes. Then have him come out and have some emotion on his face. Have him a sense of joy, a sense of anger, a sense of sadness. But no, stoic blank stare. That's all we get. So, no, Liefeld inks this. It's just this other guy who's doing the gray tones. So these little glowing effects and anything that's gray, like the multiple tones in gray and highlights and stuff like that. But that's the guy right there, this top name. He's not inking it. Liefeld does, but he's doing the gray tones on top of it, if that's what you're running by. Yeah, Battlestone, Captain Freedom, KO, Atlas. Guys just show up. KO's missing a right arm and a right leg. KO looks like he's missing a right arm. Captain Freedom is just missing his fucking legs. So they've had a rough time. So they stand around and they talk about this great, horrible, ominous threat. Liefeld wants to draw a big, giant, super robotic monster thing. So it's just a silhouette with some shapes because we don't want to spend time drawing a robotic creature. And then again, it's just silhouette shapes. Some girl shows up and starts kicking people. And then Bloodstrike himself shows up because that's what happens in these books. Somebody just shows up and starts posing. That's how this works. So the first guy to show up is Battlestone, and then the rest of the guys to show up are some of the brigade characters. And then Bloodstrike shows up, and then you've got Robot Guy and whoever girl is and whoever the fuck that guy is. So more characters just standing there. And then they talk, and then Battlestone could suddenly turn himself into a giant rock monster because his name's Battlestone. Get it? And then at the end, Prophet shows up because that's what happens in these books. People just show up. Oh, and Berserkers show up. You got Cross and Greylore and Axe and Wildmane. People just show up. So, yeah. HM. It's like we're looking at Liefeld art. What a jump scare. I know. Didn't mean to do that. I should have been a warning. Not even Gaiman is willing to write for him now. Well, does anyone want Neil Gaiman writing for him? I don't know if he was ever proven to be guilty of all that crazy shit that was written about him in the last year, but I don't think anybody would be willing to work with him until that shit's either finalized one way or another. Yeah, see, I'm one of those like I don't have any particular emotional connection to Neil Gaiman because I've never read anything of his that I loved. But to be fair, I haven't read much of his work anyway. But the stuff I have read, I haven't been blown away by. But I haven't read the defining works. Blah blah blah. I'm one of those guys that can usually just separate the work from the person. Like, and I just don't think there's ever going to be a way to deny that the stuff that Neil Gaiman's created, um, it was hyper popular for a reason. Like, what and that's the problem. Some people suddenly want to just pretend like, oh, he was never really that good anyway. I was like, nah, no, I'm not going to do revisionist history just because someone was accused of something that we don't know is factual or not. So he is definitely, as far as I'm concerned, he's always going to be considered one of the greatest. There's just no denying it. But in current world times, like, no one's going to want to touch him or work with him. If if he's lucky, it's just for a long time. Maybe, hopefully, maybe not ever again. And that's assuming that he's just innocent of all of that. And I don't want anybody to be guilty of a thing, but if they are guilty, then, well, I guess you got to pay the price. But I'm not going to judge a person when I don't know. HM, yeah, he's good, but he was never your cup of tea. Even Sandman. Your favorite part is when Sam Keith was on the book. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, again, like I said, I've never read anything of his that I gave a shit about, but I try to make sure I try to be as truthful as I can when I say, like, just because I don't like somebody doesn't mean that they're not brilliant. Like in the case of the body of work that Neil Gaiman has done. Like, I would never say, like, he was never good anyway just because I didn't like it. It's obvious that he was good. There's no denying that he's good. Okay, yeah, Sheldon, I saw on my little phone notifications here was blowing up, and I'm like, I don't know who that's from because the screen names are different. But thank you. I did see that last one you said that you were giving me the description of what they were. Thank you. I can't wait to see those. I really appreciate it. I hope it wasn't too much of a pain in the ass to dig them up. But you made a longtime Adam Hughes fan very happy. Crow Magnon, that's a discussion that we've had on this channel a couple of times. And uh, somebody was saying that Sam Keith retired. And if I remember correctly, somebody was saying that he's kind of expressed that he's kind of done with comics and art. At least in terms of drawing it professionally to put out there as to like make money on. I guess he probably must be financially stable on his own. So that's as far as I know. He's still alive, but he's just kind of in retirement and just kind of living a happy, quiet life. I have to imagine a guy that's as good as him. We were talking about how an artist at that skill level, like this stuff is ingrained in our soul. Like we have to do it. And if you're lucky enough to not have to financially do it to survive on, you still do it because it's part of who you are. So I have to imagine that Sam Keith's probably still drawing, but I don't know. Yeah, I can't wait to see him, Sheldon. Thank you. Patrick Pierce, this kind of reminds you of an apocalypse Ghostbusters. Dude, there's a concept right there. Better copyright that idea. Copy apocalypse Ghostbusters. Like after the apocalypse, you had to take up arms to capture and eliminate ghosts or demons or spirits or some. His copyright is right there in the chat. See? Like it's right there. It's official. He said it. It's his. She's like, if you steal that, Rob, a succubus in a ghost trap. Montoya, what's up? Hope you're doing all well, everyone out there. Someone made a Hellraiser Ghostbusters concept a while back set in the Victorian age. Hell yeah. That's what you call an elevator pitch. You got like 30 seconds to sell your idea to somebody. You're like, okay, Hellraiser, Ghostbusters, set in the Victorian era. How could somebody not be like, ooh, tell me more? Let's see what we can come up with. Sheldon, that reminds me. I'm going to make an eraser. Call it Hell Eraser. It's, it won't be able to work because it's got all the pins. Just yeah, we'll just take a kneaded eraser or something and put all the pins in it. Hell Eraser. It's gonna be a video on the channel tomorrow. I come up with this great idea. Don't listen to those fuckers that jump in here and tell you they made it up. This is all me. All lying sacks of shit. This is my idea. It'll be like a pet rock. You just have it on your desk. Yeah, it's an eraser, but I can't use it. It's fucking all these pins in it. Yeah, there's a lot of good concepts being thrown around tonight. You came up with the idea by using a jump to conclusions. I know what that's a reference to. That's funny. Patrick, imagine one of the Ghostbusters is a priest, uses one of the packs while praying. Yeah, jump to conclusions. That's awesome. Montoya, you just read the title of the stream. Yeah, I had a guy in my comments on that Liefeld video, the last one, just wanted to make sure that I understood that he's seen my work and I have no place to criticize Liefeld simply because I'm not as good as Liefeld. So it's like, you can't criticize if you're not as good. I'm like, that's not how that works. You don't have to be a master chef to tell somebody that a fucking meal sucks. You read that comment string? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Sheldon Platt went from a wild savage beast to a civilized artist. Um, I'm kind of one of the guys that likes Platt at kind of like a mid-range point in his artistic evolution. I appreciate, but I was never a big fan of his Mood Knight or freaking Prophet work. Like, I get it. It doesn't tickle that little happy part of my brain that gets my dick hard. It just doesn't do it. But the stuff that he did that I liked the most, I feel like for me was peak Platt, was his Soul Saga stuff. It was still ridiculous, but a little bit more refined. And his current stuff now certainly looks great. Like everyone's kind of saying, it's civilized and it's more refined, and but he lost that insanity. Yeah, Panda, it's like you can't have an opinion anymore. And again, these guys are, some of these guys are just big fans of Liefeld. They don't like that I come on there and start busting his balls. But I try to just, I've tried to be extremely clear, especially recently, by saying very specifically, it's not his anatomy or his weird design sense. It's the storytelling. It's characters not being consistent from page to page or panel to panel, or the introduction of characters, or how people just show up, or is his complete inability to draw backgrounds. And it's either he won't or can't, and it's both. It's like I try to this is objective analysis, and no one would get away with this shit if it was just his weird an anatomical sense and his proclivity to just do action scenes where people show up and they punch, punch, punch. That's kind of fine, but you have to do the basics. Like, here's this guy, here's the reason that they're here. It makes sense why they're this way. Why does his outfit change from panel to panel? Literally, a character will have one type of gun in one panel, and then in the very next panel, he's holding two guns of a different type. It's insanity. It must have been must have been the tracing paper that sent him over the edge. Dude, that's hilarious. Yeah, you miss the insane anatomy and the gun blasts. Yeah. It just wasn't for me, but I get the prophet stuff. It's inspired so many people. And I would even, it's like it was an era of comics that was out of control and had more garbage than good stuff. But we've gone so far the other direction where everything is just like this stale, kind of repetitive art look. We're like, where is the new Stephen Platt or Liefeld or McFarlane? Where are these guys with this wild insanity and this just insane abandon with their work? Why isn't there anybody out there doing shit like that? Everyone just looks the same. All this art, there's no one out there doing insane, crazy, unique stuff from the big two. And so it's just boring. It's like, come on, where is the fun? And so I wouldn't mind it if somebody went back to that insanity that is old school Platt. We need some more of that. We need to inject something to wake people up, shake them out of their apathy. What is it that Christian Bale Batman said? People need dramatic examples to shake them out of apathy. Yeah, I want to see you and Chuck colored by Juan Manuel Rodriguez. The guy has one of the best colors today in life. I took him hostage. Yeah, that would be interesting. I'd be interested to even hit him up, assuming I had money to afford him. And be like, what would it cost to get a cover done by you? That would be interesting. Could you even believe? I do my crowdfunder for my Liefeld parody sequel book, and I've got his colorist doing the cover. Weird superpower. The guy can reincarnate people, but he eats the ghost and poops him out alive. It can be called soul poo. Wow. I'm saying, guys, there's ideas here. That's the exact same kind of insane shit that I'm putting in as fake ads in my book when I get this thing going. Um, fake ads for a book just like that. Somebody should do a mock-up pinup of these ideas, and I'll put them in my book as a coming soon. even if they're not actually coming soon. But that would be funny. Or instead of bring out your dead, it's shit out your dead. Diarrheal reincarnation. That's a tongue twister to say. Isn't there that comic from Image called Chew, where a guy has to like chew on things to get like psychic impressions of it? I've never read it, but I think I read like a breakdown of it, and I'm like, well, that's an interesting concept. Diarrhea another day. Diarrhea another day. They just write themselves. Thanks for stopping in, Montoya. Thanks, man. 365 samurais and a bowl of rice. What? It's YouTube removing comments again. It's such a fucking obnoxious system that just randomly doesn't post comments that people will leave for no reason. Doesn't make any sense. This poor little blue pencil's almost at the end of his life. Gonna have to retire this soldier soon, but get a few more doodles out of him. 365 samurais and a bowl of rice. Will, what's up? Blue, you're my boy. It's funny. Blue, you're my boy. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking. There was a guy that was taking me to task on my comments on my Liefeld video about how I don't have any right to shit on Liefeld's work because I'm not better than him. I'm like, all right, that's fair. That's bullshit, but I'm gonna do it. I'm not saying I'm better than Liefeld. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying anybody can criticize. Um, I do have a mechanical pencil sharpener, but I don't use them on the blue erasable colored pencil because the lead is so soft, the machine just snaps it off. But my wood pencils, I definitely put them in there. Yeah. When I use these blue pencils, I can burn through them in 2 days when I'm doing a lot of drawing, because I, I get the best results out of these blue pencils when they're sharp, but they're so soft and I'm drawing constantly. I'm always wearing it down to a nub. So I'm constantly having to stop and sharpen. And I will grind these things down fast, which is why I bought like 5 packs that have 12 pencils inside each. So I've got quite the stack, like right here. Um, What's in here? Oh yeah, those are right. But yeah, I've got these packs of these pencils just filled with them so I don't run out anytime soon. In fact, I better get another one out because that one's about dead. Dangerous Artifacts by Mars and Castanelli. I don't think so. That's a few years old, right? Isn't that when they were doing like a top? Is that a Top Cow book? Am I thinking of the right thing? Oh, it's a Silver Surfer comic. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I guess I don't know what it is then. Obviously. Yeah, these just for an example, like you can draw really light, obviously, but then you can darken it in. But then I just take my eraser. It's an erasable colored pencil. Yeah, the darker lines are still there, but that's why I use this crappy printer paper to do the rough drawing, and then I can do the light box of clean pencil. But yeah, once I started using these blue pencils on a consistent basis, I kind of feel like I can't draw without them anymore. It's such a part of my artistic DNA at this point. Like I feel awkward without them. It's like a new piece of underwear. At first, it's kind of constrictive, but after a while, it becomes a part of you. Because why do I just use the blue? I draw better in sketch form better with the blue pencil. I don't know why. It just something about it. I For some reason I cannot just get the same kind of sketching with a regular pencil. It just bugs me and it feels off. I've never been comfortable with it, but this blue pencil for some reason it just glides on the paper easier and softer. I can't explain it, but and I know a lot of artists do this rough sketch kind of thing and then do light box for finished pencils. And some just go straight pencils right onto the final board because they're geniuses. But not me, man. I found like if I'm trying to get clean art, like, you know, this one that I've just been doing the last day or two, I don't have all the construction lines all over the page and there's not like blue pencil everywhere and stuff like that. I can just light box it and come up with something clean for the final paper. And I've always been wanting my art to look like this when I pencil it. And I finally found a way to get it. So it's just kind of what works for me. Garth never lied. It's like people just do things for money, and that's just sad. The porosity, is that a word? Is that what I'm saying? Blue pencil, no sketchbook, and the brush eraser cleaner, right? That's right. Just get out a little thing. I gotta brush it off. Instead of just blowing it off, people are trying to get me to buy a dustbuster. Now I'm not gonna. Sheldon, you want that Reebok outfit, right? We have to stop talking about it. I'm getting a headache. Here, take this. Oh, new print. Little yellow. Different. And it was always fashionable to erase underdrawings from finished inks before selling an original page, but with AI concerns, you think those leftover blue lines are more appealing from here on? I don't know. I've heard other artists talk about before where I think that they would ask buyers if they want the page cleaned up, and I've heard a lot of them say that the buyers want the page as it is with like the underdraw. I mean, I would. I want the page just as it is right now. I don't want it cleaned up to look flawless. I want to see those construction lines and those margin notes and the whiteout over that ink splatter. I want that. And I would think that maybe, yeah, that helps with AI, maybe? I don't know. Contractor, no, I will not bow to any sponsor. Pizza. I'm glad you guys know what I'm talking about. Give Rob super chats for a vacuum. Yeah, I've watched Jim Lee's art vids. He's got eraser guts all over the page. Just blow on it. No, I'm a pretentious guy. I gotta have my brush to, because those little eraser bits, it's not just blowing them off the page, but then they're on my desk, and then I put paper on top of it, so I'm drawing, and my pencil will, hit one of those speed bumps of eraser shavings. So then I'm like trying to brush off the desk with my hand, and it's just not working. It's just the goddamn brush just collects it all up a lot better. It's, it's so funny. God, now I want to watch Wayne's World. I like the part when they're going to get their car fixed, and the guy tells them how much it's going to cost, and um, Wayne just kind of casually says, "Why don't you use a gun? Like it's so expensive, you're just killing me." So he's like, "Why don't you use a gun?" For some reason, that line has just stuck with me forever. Neholinga. Wayne, you speak Cantonese. Boy, was I in love with Tia Carrera when I saw her in that little bikini bathing suit at the end of that movie. I was like, oh my lord. Now I remember that I'm a guy. Not that I forgot, but now I really remember. Yes, it's the choice of a new generation. Yeah, we were there. Have you gone mental? Right? That's a good one. It's that devil brush. Or when what's his name? Rob Lowe is offering them a check for $5,000 each. And like Garth chokes on something, so he's gonna hack it up, and so Wayne has to pat him on the back, shoots it into a drink, and he just in the background just subtly hear Wayne go, he shoots, he scores. It's these stupid fucking lines that I've repeated my entire life. Crow Mag, you really want me to check out that thing? I believe you. I really do. I'll have to I'll have to Google that when I get out of here. Now, can you tell me the difference between Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man? When they went up to Rob Lowe's apartment and they're going to order Chinese food. And it took me, when I was younger, I didn't get it the first time. But when Wayne goes, yeah, I'll have the cream of some young guy. But when that finally clicked with me, I laughed so hard. The cream of some young guy. I'm like, what are they laughing at? Because it kind of sounds like a thing. I mean, it is a thing. It certainly does suck as a go-to here at Casa de Mello, right? It's sucking my will to live. What if he honks in the car? I give you a no honk guarantee. How could he give him a no honk guarantee? Do I frighten you? No. Would you like me to? It sucks while it cuts. We might be able to write out that whole movie here, right? If you're gonna spew, spew into this. Why is it when you kill a man in battle, it's called heroic? Let me see, what's the rest of it? But in the heat of passion, it's called murder. Did I get that right? I know it's something like that, but he's like, hello. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, me and Garth get to talk to the camera. Come on. I love you, dream woman. I like how at the end of the movie, just randomly, we're gonna do the super duper happy ending. She's like, I love you, Garth. I love you, Dream Woman. Do you know that the American Indians believed when you killed the man in winter, the steam rising was the soul leaving his body? I mean, it makes perfect sense. I've always wondered what cultures that didn't understand what things were, what they thought they were. Like, what would Native Americans living in the plains think a fucking tornado is? Like, I mean, they'd have to be like a something from the gods, but I've just always wondered what culturally they thought they were. Do you know what I mean? Marriage is punishment for shoplifting in some countries. Fucking so many lines from that movie are quotable and such genius. I kind of tried to watch part two again recently, and it wasn't nearly as interesting. Um, and you know, it usually never is, but marriage is punishment for shoplifting in some countries. I'm gonna, I'm gonna make a shirt, a custom T-shirt that just says that. I want a T-shirt that says that shit. I made a custom hat just the last week. Oh god, I should go get it and show you guys. You like part two, but yeah, part one is the best. Hold on, let me go get this custom hat. Okay, so I made up this hat for me and my coworker because we thought it would be funny. Thank you. Your perspective is always valuable as like a snarky response to people when they ask me stupid questions. It's not funny to anybody but me and my coworker, but I made them up for Christmas for both of us. And so this shit makes me giggle. Instead of saying, it's like it's trying to say, yeah, fuck you, but it's like, no, thank you. Your perspective is always valuable. So I've got that to wear to work now. But now I want a T-shirt that says "Marriage is punishment for shoplifting in some countries." That makes me laugh so hard. Oh god, I'm easily entertained also. So You voted for Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, but thankfully the upper grade kids won with Wayne's World. Yeah, that's definitely the winning. I'd like to agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong. I like that one. Yeah, was that the response to what's his name? Yeah, for you're no good. You can't be criticizing. I know. It's definitely how art criticism works. I can't sculpt a perfect marble statue. Therefore, I can't look at a god awful statue and say that looks terrible because I'm not allowed to have an opinion. Hookalaka come on, you wanna lay me? Bumpa chicka, bumpa chicky. Hi, we're in Delaware. Yeah, Panda, it's funny how you're not allowed to criticize if you're not a master yourself, but you're allowed to compliment Kiss Ass and Drool if you're not a master. It makes zero sense. Yeah, if that were the case, you could never say how terrible a movie, a show, a play, a gaming console, anything. Yeah. Carl Magny, you read a couple of derogatory comments from Liefeld's fans. Yeah, and it kind of comes with the territory. I get it, and I'm not really worried about it, but it's funny how like if somebody comes in and just says, you're allowed your opinion, but I don't agree with it. I think it's fine and I really enjoy it. I'm like, okay, and some people have done exactly that. But it's when people come in and they get personally insulting, they get they make it personal. Like they are personally offended by the things I dared to say. Um, and then so then they get insulting towards me. They'll go track down my social media and be like, your art's terrible, you're a fat ugly slob, you're a incel basement dwelling, all the standard bullshit things that people say. And I'm like, well, none of that's accurate. You don't need to be a chef to hate stale bread. I like that. That's a nice, clean, concise way of putting it. I like that. Did you come up with that on your own, or is that like a phrase? You don't need to be a chef to hate stale bread. If I remember that, I'll probably use that on my next video um, of Liefeld review. No, I like that, HM. That's a really, it's a nice, perfect way to state it, simply. Well done, sir. Well, see, Cro-Magnon, that's kind of what I think is like, at the same time, while I'm talking about all these things with these books, and I'm not just criticizing Liefeld, I criticize anything that I see that has a problem with it. And I try not to be insulting, but anyway, but yeah, but I also make the stuff and I show it. Like I have the balls to at least say, here's my crap, and then people can make fun of it, and that's actually kind of fine. But some people might be like, I'm too, I can't take that kind of rejection. I don't want people, people don't want to put out their stuff publicly and have it seen and have people say, you fucking suck too. Which maybe sure, if I do and you think I do, that's totally fine. But at least I'm doing it, you know. I'm not just a critic, but I'm making it and putting out my own stuff for criticism. Oh God. Oh jeez. Yeah, I've seen Richard Corbin art. Only very recently. I've heard the name forever. It's another one of those artists whose work I just kind of missed and never had the opportunity to really see. But once I finally got an opportunity to see like an actual book and some of his work, I'm like, oh, okay, I get why people like this. I understand, at least somewhat. Oh, hiccup. Excuse me. Thanks, Mr. Art of the Round Table. Hope you're having a good evening. I'm not going to be on here too much longer, honestly. Mr. Bedrosian, Merry Christmas to you, sir. How are you? All is well. Home for the holidays. Awesome. Good to hear. Hope you and your family are doing well. Thank you, sir. I always just trying to do my thing. This gun is going to be a pain in the ass to draw because drawing guns is always a pain in the ass to do. But it helps if you have reference, which I do. But still. Mitch makes drawing guns look easy. He seems to have a good knack for guns and tech and backgrounds, like tech bases and stuff like that. He definitely does really good at that. It's gonna be a long, long time. Oh, no, no, no. It's gonna be a long, long time. Yeah, everything that's straight lines will always be bothersome and tedious. So when I go for the Conan fantasy stuff, I mean, I did just get done doing a whole He-Man fan comic, although there was actually plenty of tech stuff in it, but I leaned heavily in on the fantasy stuff. And that's one of the elements that I did kind of intentionally leave out of my version of the He-Man fan comic was like the old He-Man stuff, especially the toy line, leaned heavily into the toys and the vehicles and the ships and stuff like that. And I didn't do any of that shit. They had some of the sky sleds in there on occasion, but just that stuff is so not fun to do. I'm just gonna ride around it and pretend that these are a bunch of warriors running around in a Conan type fantasy world. But they're just He-Man characters. It's gonna be a long, long time. Sheldon, you scour through comics looking for comics looking for the tech backgrounds you want. It's usually Alan Davis tech. Danny, you got to send me a pic of your Masters of the Universe Origins wall of your studio. It's getting out of hand. Yeah, I'd love to see that. Most of us always have some kind of thing that we just collect and we just kind of won't take no. I'm like, no, I'm collecting this. I want it. No one's going to tell me no. I'm a grown-ass man. If I want to buy a bunch of He-Man stuff, no one can tell me no. My little studio I work in here is getting kind of out of control with all the comics I got laying around that I keep needing to like sort and file, and like I've reviewed these, put them away. I've reviewed this, but I still want access to them. Hold on to it. I need to stuff that I'm going to review eventually, but man, is it just ugh. Let me get out my other phone. Yeah, Panda, vehicles and architecture so difficult. If you could spend all day rendering a perspective accurate vehicle, it's so much easier to draw trees, right? Mr. Bedrosian, do you care if I show it to the chat on my phone here? Is it oh shit. Save that. But yeah, Danny, do you mind if I? Okay, all right. Yeah, I didn't want to pop it on there if there was an issue. Um, yeah, I've got stuff that looks very similar. Not figures, but comics and stuff just buried behind me. That is a wall of figures. Holy crap! I love it. Oh man, that is holy crap! It just keeps going. That is awesome. Yep. I mean, that's a collector lover of nerd stuff, like all of us, right? That's awesome. You know what I just picked up? I just actually just got this Fisto figure because Fisto was such a prominent guy, kind of like the star, the hero of the book in my fan comic. And I saw this figure at a Walmart, and I'm like, I gotta have this guy. He's got a interchangeable head. Where he's got like a gray beard and a ponytail and like a crown. Um, I think interchangeable hand. But yeah, I thought this figure of Fisto was pretty awesome, actually. So I kind of want to get all the characters that are like the star of the book, like the four main characters at the end of the main storyline. But yeah, I grabbed this just in the last month, and I've had it sitting right here next to my desk too. And the Mario Legos on the table. Yeah, that's I see that and I'm like, kindred spirits, where we all have same kind of like our nerd stuff that we enjoy. Yeah, that's awesome. One of these days I want to when I was a kid, I had the original Panther, the big cat that Skeletor rode on it, how that had that fuzzy texture. And that's one of those things I want to find another one of just to kind of have in my hand again. I really liked that thing. And then, of course, like a dummy, I kept a lot of my toys, but some of them I just got rid of. And I don't know what the hell ever happened to that, but I want another one. Yeah, Sheldon, that's right. We made a joke to put gray hairs on his fur diaper. If he's got a gray beard, why not put gray in his diaper? We talked about doing a gray paint thing down his freaking little fur diaper across the front. I forgot that we all had that ridiculous conversation. That was funny, man. Daniel, when I was a kid, he was one of the more interesting characters to me. Yeah, yeah. You have the flocked and the unflocked panther. That fuzzy, the flocked version, that was such a neat little addition. It kind of made it cooler to me than the battle cat, which was just plastic, which they're all plastic, right? But I thought that little fuzzy texture just made it kind of stand out as, more unique. In fact, when I went shopping today and I was going by that same section at Walmart with these He-Man figures, and there is a Skeletor there that it looks like a kind of like that Fisto there, updated version of the old classic figure. And I was holding that Skeletor because that's what I had. I had Skeletor and Panther. My brother had He-Man and Battle Cat and the bird, the golden bird, Zoar, I think it is. And then I had the evil eagle. I had all the bad guys. And I wanted the good guys. Now I kind of like having bad guys, but unlocked, unglocked, unflocked. Stupid typing, right? I like unglocked. It's like, is he packing a 9 millimeter? Is that what we're saying? He's unglocked? Or he's not? Yeah, 3D AFPH. It gave the cat more texture. Yeah, 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 definitely. You have a bunch of those cats at Ollie's right now. See, I kind of also intentionally don't go looking online to try and find this shit because I don't want to put myself in the position of talking myself into buying them when I should just be financially sane with my money, which I mean, I'm fine, outside of getting ripped off about a year ago. I'm fine. I recovered. But goddamn, it's so easy to get sucked into, I want to buy this nerd toy. I really, really want this. Unglocked is when Liefeld minimizes the weapon panel to panel. Right? Yeah, we were kind of talking about that earlier. How in one panel a character will literally be holding one giant gun, and then the next panel to it, he's got two smaller guns, and then in the next panel, it's back to the giant vacuum cleaner gun. Such a such a unique thing. You're like, all right, I guess it's just brilliant, and I don't understand. Oh yeah, Shelly, you splurged with your bonus from work and you got that Finch painted card. That's the one you were talking about. You got that David Finch originally. Yeah, the gun. It's got to split in two. That's what it is. And even if Liefeld had it do that I would actually be like, that's a brilliant idea. A character's carrying around a big giant vacuum cleaner with holes in the end, and then it splits into two pieces and becomes two guns. There's actually a solid idea. Like that, I would believe. Anybody like the Dolph Lundgren He-Man movie? I actually do. When I was a kid, I was significantly pissed off at how how poor it was compared to what we wanted. But like, if you just kind of go into it and look at it with the kind of the right kind of mindset, knowing what it is and what it isn't, it's actually kind of enjoyable. It's like cheesy, kind of like so bad it's good, with some interesting parts. Frank Langella doing the part of Skeletor was actually pretty awesome. Yeah, we just don't see it when he splits it, right? I've been looking at it all wrong. It's like, yeah, he just split the gun in two. It's perfect. It actually does make perfect sense. I stand permanently corrected. The guy in front I'm drawing reminds you of the Reaver from the X-Men. You know what? I never thought of that, but now that you say that, I see what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't he half tank? Wasn't he the guy that was like the lower half of him was just like tank tracks and stuff like that? Now that you say it, now you've just blown apart my whole design here. I'm like, oh, I can't use this now. Yeah, yeah. Sheldon, you liked He-Man as a kid. You're like, he's too skinny to be He-Man. You know what's crazy is Dolph Lundgren was huge. That guy was in amazing shape, but he just wasn't quite like that cartoon version that looked like a peak bodybuilder Schwarzenegger. I think is a little shorter, looked more the part, but Dolph Lundgren was in hella good shape. Um, yeah, Frank Langella's Skeletor will never be bettered. Yeah, he was a tank. Yeah, my guy's got a beard, but the mohawk and the goggles and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's funny with the Reavers guy. That didn't even occur to me. Now that you say it, I can picture it perfectly. Yeah, Danny, the mini comics kind of spoiled you in terms of how intense and epic the storyline could be. And in comparison, obviously, when the movie first came out, I hated it. But looking back, yeah, I think that's most people. We just had this idea in our head. Because to me, it's like the original He-Man cartoon was so childish. But to me as a kid, it had an element of like almost seriousness to it. Like there was some moments where I'm like, oh, this is kind of intense for a 8-year old kid. It was, I don't want to say scary, but I was like, these are scary bad guys, and these are great heroes, and these are epic battles, and these are giant monsters. I want to see a big epic version of this. And it's like the movie started out right at the end of the stuff we all wanted to see. It started at the end of the battle for Eternia and the conquest of Grayskull. And then they go to Earth and meet people that work at a chicken stand. you know? You're like, what are they doing? I understand it was what Canon Films and a budgetary thing, and they didn't have the money to set it on a fantasy world. But then why even do it? Yeah, Danny, the cartoon was like the most important thing in the world to you as a kid. It was the top one, the top three for me. To me, Transformers was the the big one to me, and then Thundercats and He Man were kind of like neck and neck, honestly. But I have so many fond memories of it, and which is why I went and made a whole freaking fan comic out of it to like do the version I wanted to see. A 3DA say you're really as good as you say you are. You glad did. I mean, did I say that I was really very good? I mean, like I was saying, I do my best, and but like I'm okay. But thank you. That's very kind of you to say. See, this is where we get the nice clean pencil version, so I don't have to mess around with all the construction lines on the final image. I like having this clean finished version. Your first comic was the Mark Teixeira or Teixeira, however you say his name, from '84. Do you remember being 3 years old and getting that comic? That's awesome. I don't remember anything from being 3 years old. Um, I'm trying to remember how young I was, like my earliest memories. But I guess I actually don't know how old I was. Those old mini comics had to have been reprinted somewhere else, right? I've heard so much about them and I've seen like images of them here and there, but I've never actually seen the completed works. I'd imagine somebody has to have um, compiled those original mini comics somewhere. I'm gonna have to go seek those out. Danny, you grew up pretty poor and couldn't afford Transformers as a kid, so you didn't want to get into it as deep as I could have. I get that. Yeah, I grew up hyper poor too, and anytime I was lucky enough to get my hands on some of the toys and stuff like that, the few. In fact, I still have several of the original toys that I had as a kid. I have my original Ultra Magnus and Power Master Optimus Prime. Um, yeah. Then of course I had a few He-Man figures. My parents were poor, but on occasion my dad would find the means to get us some stuff on occasion, and man, that was so meaningful because we understood we didn't get shit like this very often, and when we did, it was a special occasion or my dad going out of his way to find money to get stuff for us kids, and man, we just loved it. We just ate it up. It was so rare it became super precious. And then of course later on in life I say it's precious and I'm mad I got rid of them because I don't have them anymore. But as a dumb kid, you're like, oh, I don't need these things anymore. Why would I want these when I get older? I'm going to be doing cool things like playing sports and dating, hooking up with girls and playing music or some shit. I'm like, no, I'm just a nerd drawing comics, wishing I had my toys from when I was a damn kid. Son of a bitch. Dark Horse compiled the mini comics. Oh, that's awesome. You got your first Zodak even before that. I heard that, Panda, that Bruce Timm did one of those He-Man mini comics. That sounds correct. Oh, Danny sent me a thing. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe mini comic collection. That's awesome. Didn't I hear that those things were kind of created? I don't know what the words to use. Like kind of created in a vacuum, separate from each other, so the continuity was different from book to book. I can imagine these toy makers are like, just put together a comic. Who cares? Somebody just makes something up and put it in there so the kids will buy these things. Oh, Bruce Timm did a ton of them, huh? Okay. I wonder what his art, because when I think of Bruce Timm, I think of obviously like that slick, clean Batman style, but I can't imagine that style working in a He-Man thing exactly. I wonder, did his art look very different back then? I mean, I imagine it probably had to, at least a little bit, right? Sorry, asked, have I ever met Liefeld? Oh, no, no. I mean, I would. I know I talk shit about him, but I would go see him if he came around to a local convention. I would thank him for the cool stuff he did that I liked, and I would just keep to myself my personal opinion about his current shit. I'd recommend to him a YouTube channel. Hey, check out this YouTube channel. There's this asshole talk shit about your books all the time. He did most of the Snake Men stuff. Cro-Magnon. No one remembers the Alcatenna. Am I saying that right? Well, see, I didn't see any of them, so I don't know because I never saw any of them really. How Rob likes Liefeld kind of reminds me how Liefeld likes Byrne. What is Liefeld's opinion on John Byrne? I know Liefeld's a huge whore for the old classic X-Men books, and he's like, these are the best of any X-Men ever. Does he kind of struggle with Byrne on a personal level? Byrne won't sign any books for Liefeld or even talk to him. Oh, really? Wow. Professional rivalries? Liefeld has troubles with anyone. Okay, you sent me one with from the Tim's artwork from the mini comics. Oh yeah, hell yeah! Let me put my pencil down here. Okay, I can kind of see the Bruce Timm in it for sure. But yeah, it's more of a 80s He-Man kind of fan or a comic book style, but I can see that. Pretty bold coloring. Very vibrant colors. But the might of the Council of Elders was too concentrated for me. Their combined power hurled us into another dimension. And in that timeless dimension, I did not grow old, but my hatred for Eternia grew and grew. Uh-oh. That's awesome. Thanks, Danny. That's awesome. That's a hell of a thick book, if I'm seeing that right, or at least it looks like it. That's if that's all from the same book, that's a thick old compilation there. Heck yeah. Yeah, you like Liefeld's enthusiasm and charisma. Yeah, that's kind of the where he definitely excels. His enthusiasm, and he's energetic, and for sure, absolutely. Yeah, Danny, it's a ton of stories. I was going to say, it looks like it has to be that dang big. It's a lot of content. I'm going to have to look into that. Liefeld said he had someone else get his book signed for him for Byrne. I mean, if that's what it takes to get it done, I mean, right? You do what you got to do. Cro-Magnon. I'm pretty sure I know that artist. Didn't he do a bunch of the old Conan? Am I remembering that name correctly? I've got a giant box of Conan books that a friend of mine sent me that I've showed a few of, and that name sounds familiar. Am I remembering that correctly? Yeah, and Danny, yeah, Liefeld's definitely a brilliant historian. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. He's like a wealth of knowledge. I check out his YouTube channel, and depending on the subject matter, I'll listen in here. And now the only thing I can't stand is, I swear, in every dang video that he does in his podcast, he invariably goes into the sports metaphors and spends like 30 minutes talking about basketball analogies. You know, back in the LA Lakers and the teams this and I'm like, okay, oh my God, here we go with the sports stories. It's like, all right, I get it. I get it. Just let's talk comics. Oh, excuse me, please. Whew. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a good start on that one. The previous day's silliness. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna go hang out with my boys a little bit before it gets to be bedtime. Hell no, Liefeld is not good at creating characters. I mean, Liefeld comes up with a lot of designs and stuff. Californians compare everything to the Lakers from any given period. Okay, that's fair. That's funny, Danny. But yeah, Liefeld comes up with a lot of designs of characters, but a character has to have like motivations and depth. And they don't really exist with most of Liefeld's things. But he created like two brand new characters that stand the test of time. He created Deadpool and Cable, and they are like A-list tier characters, and they always will be. And fucking Jim Lee can't even claim that, nor can McFarlane or Silvestri. None of those guys can. So credit where credit's due. The character has to have feet too. See, there's some feet on there. Foot. But yeah, I'm gonna take off, guys. I appreciate it. So everyone. Oh yeah, Domino. That's a thing. But I don't think Domino's quite the A-list top tier character like Cable and Deadpool. She's like B-list, kind of like Shatterstar and those guys. But yeah, thanks for chatting, everybody. Panda, Sheldon, 3DA, Cro-Magnon, Mr. Danny Bedrosian. Thank you for stopping in as always, man. Appreciate it very much. All right, guys. Thanks.